Every single day, millions of people wake up with a feeling deep inside their chest. A quiet voice asking, "Is this really what I'm meant to do?" They go to school, they go to work, they go through the motions. But something feels missing, something important, something real. That something is often called passion. The fire that makes us feel alive, the reason we wake up excited, the work we do even if no one paid us. But the sad truth is, most people spend their entire lives searching for it, and many give up before they even begin. Why? Because we were taught to fit in, not to explore. We were told to follow the rules, not our curiosity. But what if I told you that your passion isn't lost? It's not far away. It's already inside you, waiting to be noticed. Finding your passion is not about luck or talent or being chosen. It's about listening to your heart, your interests, your energy. It's about slowing down the noise of the world and tuning into your own rhythm. In this powerful journey, we'll take you through 9 deep, simple, and life-changing steps. No fancy tricks. No unrealistic promises. Just real talk, practical reflections, and emotional truth. We'll explore how to hear your inner voice, how to follow what feels right, and how to build your life around something meaningful. No matter your age, background, or past, you can still discover what truly sets your soul on fire. So, take a deep breath. This is your time, your journey, your life. Let's begin the search. Not out there in the world, but right here, inside you. Let's find your passion, together. Step 1. The inner whisper. Listening to yourself before the world speaks. Hey loving listeners. Welcome to Mind-Blowing Motive, your favorite place for simple inspiration and deep motivation. Today, we are going on a journey to find something that many people search for their whole lives, their passion. But in this first step, let's take a deep breath and forget everything the world told us we should be. Let's forget the labels: doctor, engineer, artist, businessman. Let's quiet down the voices of comparison, competition, and confusion. Because to truly find your passion, the first and most powerful step is this: listening to yourself before the world speaks. We grow up in a world that rushes us. From childhood, we're handed rules, systems, and dreams that were never really ours. Maybe you were told what to study, where to go, and what success should look like. But your heart, your desires, they stayed hidden in silence, waiting for a moment to breathe. And here's the truth: your passion isn't hiding from you. It's inside you, quietly whispering all along. It's not in some perfect career quiz or someone else's path. It's in the moments when you feel most alive, when time disappears, when you're doing something not for applause or money, but for joy. That's where it begins. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some people just light up when they talk about certain things? Maybe it's animals, or helping others, or designing something from scratch. That glow, that spark in their eyes, it comes from doing something that touches their inner world. But too many people lose that spark because they never stop to notice it. They never sit with themselves in silence and ask, what do I really enjoy? What makes me lose track of time? What makes me feel proud, even when no one is watching? These questions are the beginning of uncovering your passion. They're not fancy, they're not loud, but they are honest, and honesty is the birthplace of passion. You don't have to be extremely talented at something to be passionate about it. Passion doesn't always start with skill. Sometimes it begins with curiosity, a small interest, or a quiet fascination. Let's say you love learning about ancient history, not because someone told you to, but because something inside you just wants to know. That interest may seem random, but it could lead you to writing, teaching, designing, creating stories, or even developing games around that topic. You don't have to plan every step right now. In this phase, you're not building a career. You're building awareness. And awareness of what stirs your soul is a powerful start. Now let's talk about fear, because it always shows up when we begin this journey. You may think, but what if I'm wrong? What if I chase this and fail? What if people laugh at me? Let me tell you this. Every person who discovered their passion had to push through these exact thoughts. The fear of failure, the fear of wasting time, the fear of being different. It's all part of the process. But guess what? It's better to fail at something you love than succeed at something that leaves you empty. True passion gives you energy, even when things are hard. It doesn't guarantee ease, but it gives you reason. And reason keeps you going. Maybe right now you feel a little lost. Maybe your life feels like a routine of responsibilities and no space for dreams. But trust this, your passion isn't lost. It's just waiting for you to slow down, breathe, and listen. It's in the books you keep buying but never read, the topics you search late at night, the things you get excited to talk about with friends. It's all around you. You just need to pause the noise and pay attention. So take a notebook and write. Not what you're good at, not what your parents want, not what the world expects. Write what makes you curious. Write what brings you joy. Write what you do even if no one paid you for it. These are not just random ideas. These are signs. And when you start to notice the signs, the path becomes clearer. The journey of finding your passion is not about running somewhere new. It's about returning to yourself, your real self, before the world told you who to be. And so, this is your first step. Sit in silence with your thoughts. Reconnect with the child inside you who once dreamed freely. Trust that voice again. Because once you begin to hear it, everything starts to change. Step 2. Follow what feels right. So now that you've begun listening to your inner voice, it's time to take the next step. That voice, quiet but honest, has already started pointing you in a direction. The question now is, will you follow it? Step 2 is about trusting that feeling deep inside you, even when the path is unclear. Sometimes we don't need a big plan or a detailed map. Sometimes we just need to follow what feels right. It might be a tiny step, a sudden interest, or a soft nudge from within that says, try this. That's how passion grows. Not all at once, but little by little, when we pay attention to what excites us and gently walk toward it. You don't need to be certain right away. Too many people get stuck thinking they must know exactly what their passion is before they take action. But the truth is, clarity comes through doing, not just thinking. Let's say you feel drawn to photography. Don't wait to become an expert. Just start. Borrow a camera, take photos with your phone, watch videos, play with light. The more you engage with something, the more you'll know if it really lights you up or if it was just a passing interest. Following what feels right doesn't mean you'll always feel confident. In fact, you'll often feel unsure. But passion has a way of revealing itself more clearly with each step forward. And here's something important. Don't look for approval. When you begin chasing something that feels meaningful to you, people may not understand. They might question you, doubt you, or even laugh at you. That's okay, This isn't about them. This is about you. Your journey, your purpose, your fulfillment. The world doesn't have to clap for you to begin. It doesn't need to cheer you on. You must be the one to clap for yourself first. Celebrate your courage to try. Celebrate your willingness to begin. Because that beginning, however small, could one day change everything. Some people miss their passion because they expect it to be big and loud, something glamorous or profitable. But often, the real thing you're meant to do starts in a quiet corner of your life. Maybe you enjoy fixing things, solving puzzles, helping your neighbor, or journaling your thoughts. These may seem small, but they hold clues. You don't have to turn every passion into a profession either. Sometimes, just doing it brings joy, meaning, and energy to other parts of your life. A passion doesn't have to pay the bills to be worth pursuing. It only needs to make your soul feel alive. Let me ask you, what's one thing you could try this week that feels right, even if it scares you a little? Is it writing a blog, teaching something online, sketching your ideas, learning a musical instrument, helping someone in your community, or starting a small YouTube channel? Whatever it is, promise yourself this: you'll try. No pressure to be perfect. No pressure to succeed instantly. Just the courage to take a step and see where it leads. Because that's how people find their passion. They follow the feeling, not the finish line. And yes, sometimes you'll follow something and later realize it's not for you. That's okay too. That's not failure. That's progress. Every step, even the wrong ones, lead you closer to your truth. It's like walking through a maze. Each turn teaches you something new. Each path you try builds your understanding of what you love, what you value, and who you are. And slowly, you start carving out a space in the world that feels like home. That space is where your passion lives. It's also okay to have more than one passion. Some people are multi-passionate. They love painting and organizing, writing and teaching, dancing and gardening. Don't limit yourself. You're allowed to explore more than one thing. The goal isn't to be one perfect thing for the rest of your life. It's to grow into who you truly are. And if that means walking several paths at once, so be it. Life is not a straight road. It's a beautiful, winding journey full of colors and turns. So in this step, I encourage you to tune into that feeling. The one that says, "This makes me feel good." Or, "I'd love to learn more about this." Or even, "I don't know why, but I'm drawn to this." That's your inner guide. That's the real you calling. And when you begin to follow what feels right, no matter how small, you start building a life rooted in truth. A life that belongs to you, not borrowed from others, not shaped by fear, but built with love, interest, and purpose. Because passion is not a destination. It's a rhythm, a dance between curiosity and courage. And the moment you take that first step toward something meaningful, you're no longer lost. You're just beginning. Step 3. Break the rules that don't fit you. In this third step of discovering your passion, we have to talk about something most people avoid: rules. Not the rules of safety or morality, but the silent rules that society hands down about what success should look like, what kind of jobs are valuable, and what paths are acceptable. These invisible rules shape us from a young age. They tell us things like, "You can't make money from art. Only smart people become successful. Passion doesn't pay bills," or "It's too late to start over." These are not truths. These are old scripts written by people who never dared to write their own story. If you want to find your true passion, at some point, you have to break the rules that no longer serve you. Too many people are living someone else's dream. They're in careers they never truly chose. They're following a routine that makes them feel empty. And the saddest part? They believe that's just how life is supposed to be. They've accepted it as normal. But passion doesn't grow in cages. It needs freedom. Freedom to explore. Freedom to fail. Freedom to create something different. That's why, in this step, you must question everything. Who told you what you're doing now is the only path? Who said it's foolish to chase what you love? And more importantly, are you living by rules that actually make you happy? Think about it like this. Imagine someone who's always loved working with their hands, building things, fixing machines, creating furniture. But their parents pushed them into a corporate job because it's more respectable. Now every day that person wakes up tired, not because the job is hard, but because their spirit isn't in it. And even though they're good at their job, they feel like a part of themselves is slowly disappearing. That's what happens when we live by rules that weren't made for us. We shrink. We dim our light. But when we finally say, wait, I don't have to follow this script, something magical happens. We wake up. Breaking the rules doesn't mean becoming reckless. It means becoming real. It means giving yourself permission to say, this isn't for me, and exploring something that is. You might love fashion in a family that values science. You might love teaching in a world obsessed with tech. You might want to be a storyteller in a culture that worships engineers. That doesn't make you wrong. That makes you courageous. Because it takes courage to walk away from the crowd and follow your own rhythm. Passion often lives in the place where you feel like you don't quite fit in. And that's a sign, not of failure, but of uniqueness. Let's be honest. The people who live with fire in their eyes are not the ones who followed every single rule. They're the ones who said, this rule doesn't match my spirit. I need to do it differently. They may have started late, taken unusual paths, or been misunderstood, but they kept going because something inside them was louder than the world around them. And you have that same voice inside you. It's the part of you that whispers when you're quiet, that tugs at you when you try to ignore it, that lights up when you think about doing something that actually matters to you. You don't need anyone's permission to follow your passion. Not your family's, not your friends', not even society's. You only need your own. And yes, breaking rules might bring discomfort. People might question your choices. But if the choice makes you feel alive, if it brings back your energy and focus, then it's worth it. Because life is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get to come back and do it over. This is your shot to live true. Why spend it following rules that were never made with you in mind? Also, understand this. Passion is personal. No one else has to understand it. You don't need to convince others why you love what you love. You just need to protect that love. Nurture it. Follow it. That might mean switching careers, taking a class, moving to a new place, or simply changing your daily routine to include what matters to you. Whatever it looks like, don't let outdated rules or limiting beliefs stop you. Passion is not just about doing what you love. It's about becoming who you are. So, here's your challenge for this step. Identify one rule you've been following that no longer serves you. Maybe it's the belief that you need to earn a certain amount before you can be happy. Maybe it's the idea that your passion has to be productive. Or that you're too old, too late, too busy, too average. Break that rule. Gently but boldly. Write it down, cross it out, and replace it with something true, something that empowers you. Because once you stop living by rules that shrink you, you begin building a life that expands you. And in that expansion, your passion will finally have the space to breathe, grow, and shine. Step 4. Explore without pressure. Sometimes the reason we can't find our passion is because we put too much pressure on ourselves to find it quickly, perfectly, and permanently. We expect one moment of magic, a sudden realization that tells us exactly what we're meant to do in life. But in reality, passion doesn't work like that. It's not a lightning strike. It's more like a sunrise. It grows slowly as you explore different parts of yourself. That's why this step is all about giving yourself permission to explore. Without pressure, without fear, and without the need for everything to make sense right away. Too many people stop themselves before they even begin because they think, what if I try and fail? Or, what if I'm not good at it? But here's a question. How can you know unless you try? Exploration is not failure. It's learning. Every new thing you try reveals something about yourself. You might discover a skill, an interest, a challenge, or even a boundary you didn't know existed. And all of those discoveries bring you one step closer to understanding what you truly love. You don't need to be perfect at something for it to matter. You just need to feel something when you do it. Joy, curiosity, peace, excitement. That's passion knocking at your door. Let's say you try painting. You've never done it before, but for some reason, the idea pulls at you. You sit down one afternoon and start experimenting with colors. Maybe the result is messy. Maybe it's not beautiful, but you enjoyed it. You felt calm, focused, present. That's not a waste of time. That's a signal. A small window into what your soul enjoys. Or maybe you volunteer to help someone in need. You think it'll just be a good deed, but afterward, you feel full, happy, purposeful. Again, that's a clue. Passion often reveals itself in the moments we least expect, when we're simply doing something out of interest, not obligation. And the best part? There's no limit to how much you can explore. You're allowed to try new things, take breaks, and even change your mind. Passion isn't always one thing. For some people, it's a combination of things. For others, it changes as they grow. That's completely normal. The only thing that matters is that you stay open. Let life surprise you. Let yourself be a beginner again. Don't worry if something doesn't turn into a career or lifelong mission. Exploration is about connection. To yourself, to your values, to your creativity. There's also beauty in discovering what doesn't work for you. Not everything you try will feel right, and that's okay. When you realize something isn't your path, you're not moving backward. You're getting clearer. You're narrowing it down. Every no brings you closer to a yes. That's why it's so important to remove the pressure. You don't have to have it all figured out this year or even this decade. The process of finding your passion is part of the passion itself. So in this step, be gentle with yourself. Take time to explore the hobbies, ideas, topics, and experiences that call to you. Don't judge yourself. Don't rush. Just give yourself the gift of curiosity. Try writing a story, playing an instrument, learning a new language, helping at an animal shelter, building something, or sharing your thoughts online. Anything that catches your attention, even slightly, is worth exploring. Because the truth is, your passion is not hiding. It's waiting for you to stop forcing and start flowing. Step 5. Notice what energizes you. As you continue your journey to find your passion, something important begins to happen. You start noticing how different things affect your energy. That's what this step is all about. When you're doing something that connects to your true interests, your energy changes. You feel lighter, more focused, more present. It's not always dramatic, but it's real. You may feel a sense of peace while doing something quiet, or you may feel a rush of excitement while working on a creative idea. Either way, your body and mind are constantly giving you signals. And when you start paying attention to what energizes you, you start uncovering the pieces of your passion. In contrast, think about how drained you feel after doing things that don't align with you. You might spend hours doing something you're supposed to enjoy, but afterward, you're tired, irritated, or even numb. That doesn't always mean the task was difficult. It could simply mean your heart wasn't in it. We often ignore these signs because we've been trained to push through, to perform, to impress. But passion doesn't come from performance. It comes from connection. Connection to your natural rhythm, your deep interests, and your sense of meaning. Let's say you spend 2 hours designing something, writing a blog, or researching a topic you love. And at the end, instead of feeling exhausted, you feel more alive than when you started. That's your body saying, yes, more of this. On the other hand, maybe you spend the same amount of time in a meeting doing repetitive tasks or talking about topics that bore you, and you feel like you're running on empty. That's your inner voice saying, this isn't it. The challenge is learning to trust these signals, because society will always try to tell you that success comes from hard work alone. But the truth is, aligned work, the kind that matches your energy, feels less like struggle and more like flow. Now, this doesn't mean you'll never feel tired while chasing your passion. Of course you will. All meaningful work requires effort. But there's a big difference between being tired because you worked hard on something you love and being tired because you forced yourself through something that drains your soul. One leaves you fulfilled. The other leaves you questioning yourself. And that's the difference you must learn to notice. Another thing to watch for is time. When you're passionate about something, time feels different. Hours fly by without you realizing. You're not checking the clock. You're not counting minutes. You're fully present in the moment. That's what psychologists call flow state. A mental zone where your brain is focused, joyful, and deeply engaged. Flow is not always loud or exciting. Sometimes it's quiet and steady, but it always leaves you feeling better than before. That's one of the biggest clues to your passion. Time disappears and joy remains. But here's the catch. You can't find this flow unless you give yourself space. If your life is always packed with noise, tasks, and other people's expectations, you won't hear what your energy is trying to tell you. That's why reflection is so powerful. At the end of each day or week, pause and ask yourself, what gave me energy this week? When did I feel most myself? What made me lose track of time? You don't need perfect answers, just honest ones. And the more you do this, the more patterns will appear. You'll start seeing which activities, environments, and conversations fuel you, and which ones leave you feeling drained or disconnected. You'll also discover that passion isn't always loud or obvious. It's not just for artists, athletes, or entrepreneurs. You can feel passion in gardening, in mentoring, in creating order out of chaos, in solving problems, in serving others quietly. It's not about the form, it's about the feeling, And that feeling, more than anything else, is your clue. So don't chase what's popular or trendy. Chase what gives you life. Chase what wakes you up inside. Because your energy never lies. And if you follow it, it will lead you home. Step 6. Learn from what breaks you. Sometimes we think our passion will come only from joy, excitement, or success. But the truth is, some of the deepest passions are born from pain, from struggle, from moments that broke us open and left us wondering, why did this happen to me? This step is about looking closely at those moments, not with bitterness, but with courage. Because often, what hurts you the most reveals what matters to you the most. And inside that pain, inside those cracks, you'll often find the seeds of your passion waiting to grow. Everyone goes through difficult times. Maybe you've been rejected, misunderstood, or made to feel like you're not enough. Maybe you've faced failure, heartbreak, or the loss of something important. And in those moments, it's easy to shut down and believe that the world has nothing left for you. But what if those moments were actually invitations? What if the things that broke you were pointing you toward something greater? Toward something you were meant to heal, change, or rebuild? Not just for yourself, but for others too? Let's say someone struggled with confidence for most of their life. They know what it feels like to be invisible, unheard, or afraid to speak. And one day, they begin to help others who feel the same. They listen. They encourage. They create space for others to grow. Over time, that painful experience becomes their purpose. Not because it disappeared, but because they transformed it. That's how passion often works. It's born in the place where your heart was once broken, and now you want to make things better. Not out of ego, but out of empathy. Think about your own journey. What experiences shaped you deeply? What moments changed your view of the world? What problems made you feel angry, helpless, or inspired to do something? Your answers to those questions are important. They show where your emotions are strongest. And passion always follows emotion. You don't need to have a dramatic story. You just need to pay attention to where you hurt and what you've learned from it. Sometimes your passion is simply the thing you wish someone had given you when you were struggling. You may also discover that you want to help people avoid the pain you experienced. Maybe you grew up in a place where dreams were crushed, and now you want to inspire young minds. Maybe you were never encouraged to create, and now you teach others to express themselves. Maybe you struggled with health, and now you care about well-being and healing. All of these are examples of how your past pain can guide you toward a future purpose. Not as a victim, but as a builder, a creator, a light bringer. Now, this doesn't mean you need to stay in the pain. It means you can rise from it and use it. You can take the lessons, the strength, and the empathy you gained and turn them into action. That action could be writing, speaking, helping, building, supporting, leading, or simply being present in a way that others weren't for you. Whatever form it takes, it matters. Because passion isn't just about what you love. It's about what you feel deeply connected to, what stirs something powerful inside you. So if you've ever felt broken, lost, or forgotten, know this. You are not too far gone. You are not behind. You are exactly where your story needed to take you so you could find what truly matters. The pain didn't come to stop you. It came to shape you. And if you're willing to look at it with open eyes and a soft heart, you'll find that it's not just your wound, it's also your way forward. Because sometimes the darkest places grow the brightest fires. And inside your story, there is passion waiting to rise. Step 7. Stay patient with the process. In a world that moves fast and demands quick results, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind if you haven't found your passion yet. Social media shows you people who seem to have it all figured out. People who found their purpose at 18, built a career around what they love, and are already living their dream lives. But what no one tells you is that behind every success story is a long, messy, and often confusing process. And that's why this step is so important. You must stay patient with the process. Finding your passion isn't a race. It's a journey. And every step, every pause, every moment of doubt is part of it. Too many people give up not because they don't have passion, but because they expect it to show up quickly and clearly. They think, if I haven't found it by now, maybe I never will. But passion doesn't always come with fireworks or big signs. Sometimes it comes quietly, in pieces, over time. Sometimes it comes after years of trying, failing, learning, and growing. And that's okay. You are not late. You are not lost. You are unfolding, slowly, honestly, and beautifully. Think about a tree. Before it ever breaks through the ground, it spends time growing roots. Deep, invisible roots that no one sees. That root-building stage is just as important as the moment it blooms. In the same way, your search for passion might feel slow, but underneath the surface, you are growing. You are discovering what matters to you. You are learning what works and what doesn't. You are gathering experiences, insights, and pieces of yourself that will one day connect. Don't rush that process. Honor it. Because what's built slowly is built to last. It's also important to understand that there will be seasons. Seasons of excitement, where everything feels full of possibility, and seasons of doubt, where nothing feels clear. There will be moments when you feel inspired, and others when you feel stuck. But that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're human. No path is straight, no journey is smooth, but every step counts, even the hard ones. Especially the hard ones. One of the most dangerous beliefs is thinking you need to catch up, that you're behind others your age, or that you've wasted time. But here's the truth. Your timing is your own. Just because someone else found their passion early doesn't mean you've missed your chance. In fact, people who find their passion later often bring deeper wisdom, empathy, and creativity to it, because they've lived, struggled, and seen more of life. So don't compare your path to anyone else's. You're not in competition. You're in discovery. Also, don't be afraid to go slow. In a world obsessed with speed, going slow is an act of strength. Slow allows you to reflect, adjust, and really connect with what you're doing. When you rush, you miss the details. You miss the magic. You might even miss the very thing you were meant to find. So let go of the pressure to figure it all out today. Let your passion find you piece by piece. Let yourself enjoy the learning, the playing, the testing, and the growing. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to be unsure. None of these things mean you're failing. They mean you're evolving. Passion is not just a destination. It's a relationship with yourself, your growth, and your purpose. And just like any relationship, it takes time, care, and commitment. So in this step, I invite you to take a breath. Release the timelines. Release the comparisons. Release the guilt. Trust your journey. Be kind to yourself. And most importantly, keep going. Because every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the life you were meant to live. And that life will be worth the wait. Step 8. Build a life around your passion. Slowly. By now, you've begun to notice what sparks your energy, what keeps you curious, and even what life lessons have shaped your inner fire. You've explored without pressure and stayed patient through the process. But what happens when you finally start recognizing your passion? What's next? That's where this step comes in, slowly building a life around it. Not all at once, not with dramatic leaps, but piece by piece, with intention, clarity, and heart. Because discovering your passion is only half the journey. The other half is shaping your life to include more of it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they need to quit everything and start fresh the moment they find what they love. That's not always realistic, and for many people, it creates more stress than freedom. The better approach is to begin integrating your passion into your current life, in ways both big and small. You don't need to turn your passion into your full-time job overnight. In fact, you don't need to turn it into a job at all, unless that's what you truly want. The key is to give it space. Make time for it. Water it like a plant. Let it grow at its own pace. If you love writing, start with 15 minutes a day. If you enjoy photography, carry your camera or phone and make it a part of your walk. If helping others fills you with purpose, start volunteering once a week or mentoring someone. These small actions are powerful because they shift your identity. They remind you that you're not just living to pay bills or follow a schedule. You're also creating. You're expressing. You're building something meaningful. Over time, these little moments of joy add up. They reshape how you see your days. They make your life feel more like yours. And yes, there will be resistance. You'll feel too tired, too busy, or unsure if it's worth it. But that's where discipline meets passion. Passion alone is not enough. It needs consistency. You have to show up for it, even when life feels heavy. That's how trust is built between you and your dream. You give to it, and eventually, it gives back to you. In ways you never expected. New relationships, fresh ideas, or even a new path that slowly becomes your reality. As you continue, you might feel a shift. What started as a small interest becomes something more serious. People begin to notice. Opportunities show up. Your confidence grows. And little by little, the line between your real life and your passion life begins to blur. That's when magic happens, not because you forced it, but because you followed it with patience and love. You didn't rush. You respected the process. And now you're beginning to shape a life that reflects your true self. Sometimes people will ask you why you're investing time in something that doesn't pay. Why you're spending energy on something that's just a hobby. But you'll know why. Because it brings you alive. Because it brings peace to your heart and meaning to your mind. And that's worth more than any number in a bank account. A life built around passion may not always be the easiest life, but it's the most fulfilling. It's the life that leaves you proud when your head hits the pillow. So in this step, don't rush to change everything. Start with what you can control. Protect your time. Prioritize what you love. Build habits that reflect the life you want. And trust that each day you live a little more in alignment with your passion, you're creating a future you'll actually want to wake up to. Because a passionate life isn't built in a day. It's built in quiet moments, small choices, and 1,000 tiny steps in the right direction. Step 9. Let your passion serve a bigger purpose. As you reach the final step in your journey to finding your passion, it's time to ask a powerful question. How can my passion serve something greater than me? You see, passion isn't just about what makes you feel good. It's also about what impact you can create through it. The deepest, most lasting passions are the ones that connect your personal joy to a bigger purpose, something beyond success, recognition, or even happiness. It's about contribution, about meaning, about using what you love to make a difference in someone else's world. When your passion becomes a source of light for others, it takes on a new level of power. That's when it becomes more than a hobby or a personal interest. It becomes a mission. You don't need to be famous, rich, or incredibly skilled to make this happen. All you need is intention, a willingness to share your passion in a way that lifts others up, gives them hope, or makes their lives a little brighter. And here's the beautiful part. When you do that, your own sense of purpose deepens too. You feel more connected, more valuable, more alive. Let's say you love cooking. At first, it's just for fun. You enjoy trying new recipes and feeding your family. But then you start sharing your recipes online, or teaching cooking to kids in your community, or preparing meals for people going through a tough time. Suddenly, your passion is no longer just about food. It's about connection, care, and comfort. You're not just feeding people's stomachs. You're feeding their hearts. That's the transformation that happens when passion meets purpose. Or maybe your passion is storytelling. You've always enjoyed writing, but when you start sharing stories that reflect people's struggles, hopes, and dreams, especially those who feel unseen, you're not just writing anymore. You're giving people a voice. You're building empathy. You're helping others feel less alone. That's purpose in action. And here's something even deeper. When your passion serves others, it becomes stronger during the hard times. Because let's face it, even with all the joy and inspiration, there will be days when you want to give up. Days when it feels like no one cares, nothing's working, and it's all too much. But if your passion is tied to something bigger than you, you'll keep going. Not just because you want to, but because someone out there needs what you're creating. Someone is learning, healing, smiling, or growing because of what you're doing. And that makes it all worth it. It's also important to know that serving through your passion doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. You don't have to change the entire world. You just have to change your corner of it. Maybe it's one person you encourage, one project you finish, one truth you speak, one moment you create. These small ripples matter. They add up, and they become your legacy, not just what you did, but how you made people feel through your passion. So in this final step, ask yourself, how can my passion serve? Who can it help, inspire, or uplift? What stories can it tell? What solutions can it offer? What joy can it spread? You don't need all the answers now. You just need the willingness to start thinking beyond yourself. Because passion that only serves you will fade. But passion that serves others will grow stronger with time. As you close this chapter of discovery, remember, your passion is your gift, your fingerprint on the world. And when you live it fully, with love and purpose, you don't just change your own life. You become a light for others to follow. And maybe, just maybe, your courage to follow your passion will inspire someone else to find theirs. So, if you're still searching for your passion, don't panic. Just be patient, be curious, and keep moving. The path may not be straight, but your heart already knows the way. Trust it, follow it, and let it guide you to a life that feels truly yours. This is Mind-Blowing Motive, where we light up your mind and lift your spirit. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and stay connected for more real talk and powerful motivation.